Good seal? He tried to kick her. What happened next shocked the base. The sand exploded beneath his boot as he lunged forward, aiming a full-force kick straight at the woman who had just stepped onto the training field. For a split second, everyone froze, the scorching daylight beating down on the naval base, the distant roar of helicopter blades slicing the sky, the recruits who had been laughing just a moment earlier. It all fell silent as they realized what was happening. The woman didn't flinch. She didn't even step back. Instead, she moved with a calmness no one on that base had ever seen, her eyes steady, her posture soft but unbreakable. And before the kick could land, something happened that no one, including the man who threw it, would ever forget. If you believe kindness, strength, and second chances truly matter, then now is the perfect moment to support the channel Kindness Corner by liking, sharing, commenting, and subscribing. Your engagement helps powerful stories like this continue to reach hearts everywhere. Under the blazing midday sun, the naval training compound smelled of sweat, ocean wind, and dust kicked up by miles of drills. It was a world where strength was measured in grit, toughness, and endurance. Many believed emotions had no place here. On that particular day, the recruits were restless, especially Navy SEAL trainee Rylan Ward, a man known for his quick temper and a past filled with scars he refused to show. His reputation whispered through the base, angry, unpredictable, grieving. But even so, no one imagined he would snap the way he did. The new arrival, a small, quiet woman named Commander Mira Halden, walked onto the training field with a duffel bag slung over her shoulder. She looked almost out of place, slender build, steady eyes, hair tied in a neat but unremarkable bun. Many assumed she was an administrative officer or maybe someone assigned to oversee paperwork. No one would suspect she had seen more real combat than half the base combined. The name Halden was unfamiliar to the recruits, and since she wore no visible rank that morning, the men didn't know she had been sent there to fix something deeper than poor discipline. Mira had a mission: restore humanity to a unit tearing itself apart, but she arrived into a storm. Rylan, already simmering with frustration, had been struggling through an advanced combat sequence that morning. Every strike he threw was full of bottled pain. Every missed target fueled his anger. When the instructor mocked his form, he snapped back. When another trainee laughed, he shoved him. The tension reached a peak when the instructor called a break and Rylan turned away, shaking with old wounds he couldn't voice. And that was the moment Mira silently stepped onto the grounds. Her calm presence irritated him without reason. When she approached the group, offering nothing more than a small nod and the quiet introduction that she would be observing training, something in Rylan cracked. His pride, his exhaustion, his grief, all of it collided. The other trainee snickered, whispering doubts about her standing there as if she belonged. Rylan's heartbeat thundered in his ears as Mira walked by him, giving him a gentle, acknowledging glance, the kind of look that sees straight through armor. To a SEAL trainee trying desperately to mask his brokenness, such a look felt like exposure, and so, without warning, he lunged. He swung a kick, sharper and harder than any part of him intended. A reckless strike. A dangerous one. A moment that could have ended his future, but Mira moved like water. She sidestepped so effortlessly it looked like she had predicted the attack before he even made it. The next moment, Rylan felt the ground tilt as she used just 2 fingers, a shocking, subtle pressure under his shoulder blade to redirect his momentum, sending him stumbling forward instead of falling violently. He hit the sand on his knees, breath knocked out, stunned into wide-eyed silence. Gasps echoed behind him. She hadn't hurt him. She hadn't retaliated. She hadn't even raised her voice. Instead, she offered her hand. Every recruit froze in disbelief as Rylan stared at her palm, trembling with humiliation and shock. Her expression held something he had not seen in years: understanding, not judgment. When he refused the gesture and pushed himself up alone, she didn't force the issue. She simply nodded as if she already understood that accepting help wasn't something he was capable of yet. News of what happened spread through the base within minutes. A trainee tried to assault a visiting officer, and she reacted with the precision of someone who wasn't just trained, but forged. Mira Halden, it turned out, was not an administrator. She wasn't a temporary observer. She was a legendary combat instructor brought out of retirement after years off-grid. Her file was sealed, but rumors said she had once led rescue missions through enemy territory with no backup, had saved entire units from ambush, had endured losses far greater than the recruits could imagine. She had come to rebuild something she saw breaking: the hearts of soldiers who had forgotten how to carry pain without burying themselves beneath it. Rylan was the first one she targeted, not for punishment, but for healing. Over the next week, the daylight hours turned into a series of quiet tests. Mira never called Rylan out publicly for his attack. She never humiliated him or brought up the incident. Instead, she assigned him tasks that required patience, precision, and control. He began his mornings scraping rust off forgotten training equipment and spent afternoons lugging weighted packs through obstacle routes designed to slow down the mind long enough to let emotions surface. At first, he hated every second, he pushed through every drill with bitterness. But Mira watched him closely, her eyes never harsh, only observant, waiting for the moment he finally confronted the storm inside. That moment came one humid afternoon as the sun hung high and unforgiving. Rylan was climbing the rope tower, a brutal structure that left even the strongest men shaking. Halfway up, he stopped. His fingers cramped. His breathing staggered. But it wasn't the physical strain that froze him. It was the silence. The stillness. The memories that filled it, the face of the little sister he lost, the car accident, the guilt he never overcame. He had spent years trying to bury the pain under toughness, under anger, under the belief that if he pushed himself hard enough, the grief would disappear. But Mira saw through him from day one. She walked to the base of the tower and waited, saying nothing. Just being there, and something inside Rylan finally broke. He slid down slowly, gripping the rope with shaking hands until his boots touched the ground. Sweat dripped from his chin, but the tears mixed with it were the ones he could no longer hide. His breath stuttered. His chest shuddered. He tried to turn away, but Mira placed a hand on his shoulder, a gesture so gentle it made the tears fall harder. He collapsed to his knees. She didn't speak. She simply stayed beside him until the storm passed. For the first time in years, Rylan allowed himself to cry without shame. Wordlessly, something changed. He began to show up to training earlier, pushing himself in ways that were no longer fueled by anger but purpose. His eyes softened. His steps steadied. His interactions with others grew calm, grounded. He apologized to the trainee he shoved. He fixed equipment without being asked. He even helped the new recruit tie his boots properly without mocking him. He was becoming the soldier he always wanted to be, because someone finally saw him as more than his mistakes. Every trainee on base saw the transformation. Even the instructors whispered about it. A shift had occurred that no one could deny, and then came inspection day. A day when the entire base lined up for evaluation in neat rows under the bright afternoon light. Officers from across the region came to observe, including Commander Mira Halden, now wearing her insignia openly. When the senior officer in charge asked who had displayed the most growth, discipline, and leadership in the past month, every head turned, not to Mira, but to the man who once tried to kick her. Rylan. His eyes widened as the entire base applauded him, a sound that shook him more deeply than any battle ever could. But the moment that broke him came when Mira stepped forward. She didn't congratulate him in the expected formal way. Instead, she saluted him. A commander saluted a trainee. Gasps rippled through the ranks. Mira's voice was steady as she spoke. She addressed the base, but her eyes were on him as she said that true strength is not in the strike of a kick or the force of a punch. True strength is owning your past, facing your fears, and allowing yourself to grow beyond them. Rylan, she declared, had done exactly that. The recruits cheered louder. Rylan lowered his head, overwhelmed. But this time, the tears that fell were not ones of shame. They were ones of healing. If this story touched your heart, please support this video with a like, share, comment, and subscribe. Your engagement helps keep emotional and inspiring stories alive for millions who need them. Before we reach the final lines, here is a simple, special request. Comment one word below that describes what strength means to you. And now, the ending. As the sun dipped slightly, casting long golden shadows across the base, Mira approached Rylan. There was pride in her eyes, but something deeper too, something that felt like gratitude. He had reminded her why she returned. Why she trained. Why she believed broken people were not burdens but possibilities. Rylan stood taller than he ever had. Not because of rank. Not because of applause. But because he had finally reclaimed himself, and from that day on, every